Be a part of the fun. Sunday nights at 12:30 on TV8. In Ottumwa, tune to Translator Channel 74 for better reception of TV8.
Good morning. I'm Charles Kuralt, and this is Sunday Morning. We offer you this morning stories about music, about talk, about silence even. But our lead story, to be reported by Victoria Corderi, is about a community in this country where victims of AIDS have trouble finding sympathy or support, even have trouble finding a doctor. The community is Salt Lake City, Utah.
There is trouble in the land of the Mormons. In this conservative, family-oriented society, homosexuality is a sin second to murder, and many gays lead double lives. But now AIDS is a factor, and health officials must face not only the disease, but the plague of fear and ignorance. Later on Sunday morning, we'll meet the people who are living and dying with the problem.
A double dose of tragedy in one American place. Our story about silence is a tribute to the art of Marcel, that famous mime. We call it Shh. Our story about talk is with that gifted talker, Studs Terkel. David Culhane becomes immersed in the world according to Studs.
Boom, boom. The reaction everywhere. It could be in any country that I may have visited or that you have. And you say, Chicago, boom, Al Capone, they say. And then you realize that Warner Brothers and Jimmy Cagney, Edward G. Robinson, did quite a sales job on Chicago.
Studs Terkel does a different kind of sales job on Chicago, as only he can, a little later on. Eugenia Zukerman will drop by this morning to discuss a great musician's triumph over the crippling effects of stress. Ron Powers will be here to talk about a television puppet show that's not for kids. Phil Jones will join us from Washington to speculate about prospects for the 100th Congress, which convened last week. We'll review the other news of the week, too, and we'll begin with the headlines for Sunday morning, January 11th. A truck capable of carrying nuclear weapons overturned on a country road in Salisbury, England last night. British Marines and police have sealed off the area. Nobody's saying whether the truck in fact had nuclear weapons aboard. There will be a new chief Soviet arms negotiator when the Geneva arms talks resume. Viktor Karpov, it is reported today, will be replaced by Yuli Vorontsov, a high-ranking official of the Soviet ministry who will have the authority to make important decisions. The White House has been urging a change. A lot of places in this country got a lot of snow yesterday. In Illinois, Missouri, and Indiana, people spent their Saturdays digging out from under nearly a foot of snow. Another storm caused snow from Pennsylvania to Maine.
At Pigeons, we're celebrating the biggest weekend of the year by rolling back prices on Iowa's largest inventory of quality home furnishings. Important price reductions on furniture, carpet, appliances.
Join the crowds and shop the greatest savings in area history at this once-a-year event. The values are spectacular, the selection fantastic.
For the best prices and best selection, come to Pigeons. There's never been a better time to buy. Pigeons' big holiday savings sale going on now at all Pigeons locations.
Today's computerized workplace is like a music hall before a concert. Each workstation merely a solo instrument until the conductor brings them into harmony. Introducing DFM, conductors for office orchestration through networking, IBM and Novell Business Systems. DFM, networking for efficiency and harmony. DFM, turning solos into symphonies.
This week on Midday.
A Des Moines man talks about his multicultural newspaper, The Communicator.
Some ISU students are acting up for the MTA. We'll learn more, and we'll find out how a mother and daughter were reunited through a runaway service.
The jet-powered monster truck, the Silver Bullet, highlights the auto show. We'll take you there, and to Drake University, where we'll join a celebration for Martin Luther King's birthday.
We'll take you to the Women's Club art exhibit, and a doctor talks about a medical problem most people won't discuss.
All of this and more on Midday.
Over 400 classes are available to Central Iowans through the Department of Community and Adult Education of the Des Moines Public Schools. Winter classes begin the week of January 12th through the 17th and offer something for everyone. There's physical fitness or courses in business. You can enroll your youngsters in the preschool program or try skiing, auto tune-up, or home wiring. For more information on lifelong learning, contact the Department of Community and Adult Education at 242-7701.
President Reagan finished the week with a clean bill of health from his doctors. The president's political health is still the subject of much debate as investigations continue into the sale of arms to Iran and the diversion of funds to the Contras. Our review of the week's news begins in Bethesda Naval Hospital, where the president made a speedy recovery after prostate surgery.
How do you feel? Fine. When are you getting out? Oh, I think maybe day after tomorrow.
The president returned to the White House on Thursday after a CAT scan revealed no sign of cancer.
I feel great. Ready to get back to work? What? Ready to get back to work? I haven't stopped.
The president's aides released a year-old memo from John Poindexter to Mr. Reagan suggesting that an Israeli plan to sell arms to moderates in Iran would win the release of hostages.
It is the people who were pushing the arms deal on him who kept using the hostages to get the president interested in continuing this effort.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and
The new
domestic?
Congress went to work with Jim Wright of Texas as Speaker of the House and a new Democratic majority in the Senate. First two items on the agenda, the president's proposed budget and continuing investigations into the Iran-Contra arms scandal.
All around in support and have the director come up and say, I didn't know anything. Nobody here about us chickens. We didn't know anything going on.
There was celebration on Wall Street as the Dow Jones Industrial Average broke the 2,000 mark for the first time.
Great. I'm always a buyer. I'm a bull. I love it.
15 people were killed and more than 170 injured when a fast Amtrak passenger train collided with 3 Conrail engines near Baltimore.
I hear people hollering. But with my shoulder, I couldn't do nothing for them, you know.
It was the worst accident in Amtrak's history. Investigators say the Conrail engines ignored 2 stop signals. In San Juan, Puerto Rico, there were several bomb threats in the week following the terrible fire at the DuPont Plaza Hotel, which investigators confirmed was deliberately set.
I told him I wanted to go to Egypt, but not this way.
10-year-old Michael Caruso was held at gunpoint for 8 hours at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport by a Syrian national who wanted to go to Egypt, but the ordeal ended well.
He let me go. He dropped the gun. I was walking as slow as a turtle, of course.
Are you going to have nightmares about this?
Actually, no, because he was kind of a nice guy.
We will continue to pursue our basic mission with strengthened dedication.
NASA named 5 veteran astronauts to fly the first shuttle into space following the Challenger explosion last January. The flight is scheduled for February 1988.
And the universe. Expanding the human...
It's taken the light from this galaxy 12 billion years to travel all the way to our telescope. We're looking back 2/3 of the way back to the beginning of the universe.
Astronomers using the world's most powerful telescopes believe they've discovered a new galaxy being born, billions of light years away.
Public opinion in the civilized world has grown accustomed to fast scientific progress. Already the idea of Sputnik whirling through space has become accepted, and people are saying, what comes next? What comes after Sputnik? After...
One of the brightest stars of CBS News retired last week. George Herman reported news on the air for 43 years with great skill, honesty, and grace. His kind of journalism they try to teach in schools.
Japan's wartime codes are now declassified.
This is newsfilm correspondent George Herman in Washington.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by Apple Computer, makers of Macintosh Personal Computer, the business solution that gives you the power to be your best.
Put Macintosh in the middle of your company, and some remarkable things start to happen. Those who shoot from the hip suddenly show signs of organization. And those who live by the book show glimmers of creativity. Ideas surface from people you thought had retired. Reports that could bore the dead sparkle with graphic clarity. Your 8th floor will actually communicate with your 7th. Presentations begin to border on the flamboyant. And your most tireless worker will actually have time to take an afternoon off. And a budding genius will be found where once a face was seen. It's very good. But not heard. Very good. And one by one, each and every person in your company will begin to discover the power of Macintosh. The power to be your best.
Introducing the unbelievable American under $7,800, the Plymouth Sundance Series. Plymouth Sundance, the best value of any car in its class, including the imports. 47 standard features to convince you, 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan to assure you. Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,800. The pride is back, born in America.
This man is missing nearly 1/2 of the fiber he should have every day. He's not the only one. The National Cancer Institute states that most Americans have diets lacking adequate fiber. Fortunately, just one serving of Kellogg's All-Bran has the amount of fiber needed to make up what the average person is missing each day. Kellogg's All-Bran. It can make all the difference.
Acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, is devastating by any measure, but it is doubly devastating when AIDS victims are condemned not only by the virus they carry, but by their community and their church as well. That is what is happening in Salt Lake City, where Victoria Corderi went to report our story. Double dose of tragedy.
The link between homosexuality and AIDS is well established. Researchers have made little headway in treating the disease, and even less in treating the plague of fear and ignorance among the public. In big cities, it can be bad. In small communities, near intolerable.
It's come to our community, as all communities, a disease that is taking people that we love. There will be more that will leave us. Some that are in this room will leave us.
Most of these people are former Mormons, or, in the eyes of the church, fallen Mormons. According to the doctrine of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they've committed a sin considered second only to murder, homosexuality.
This night is dedicated to some of those persons in our community that have gone before.
These people chose to declare their sexual preferences and left the church or were excommunicated. Many others in this conservative, family-oriented culture cannot live with that rejection.
I found myself just being ignored and forgotten. And
Do you feel like an outcast?
absolutely. And it's
And he's had to give up so much to make this decision. Tremendous price to pay, I guess.
It was a price paid not only by this excommunicated Mormon, but by his ex-wife and 5 children.
You know, first of all, giving up the church, which was a big part of his life.
And that led to divorce and giving up his family. Not only his wife and children, but it's meant rejection from his father, kind of questionable support from brothers and sisters. He had to give up his job, he felt, and move away from the community, start again in a new job and among new people. It's been a tremendous adjustment for him.
He tried to overcome his homosexuality with years of counseling, even shock therapy, and finally, marriage. Much of it on the council of officials of the Mormon Church.
I went to another official in the church, and he said to me, if you would get married in time and have a healthy family life, that everything would be all right, and you shouldn't have to worry. I call it spiritual quackery, in which people tell you if you will follow these particular ecclesiastical spiritual steps, that you will be cured of this particular problem. And I am thoroughly convinced from my own experience and the experience of many other people that it simply doesn't work.
Church headquarters are in Salt Lake City, Utah. The state is close to 70% Mormon.
Love the sinner, but condemn the sin.
Dallin Oaks, one of the ruling council of the church, says there is no stated policy encouraging gays to marry.
The path of growth is to forsake your sins and sin no more. And that could include marriage, or it could not include marriage. But marriage is not doctrinal therapy for homosexual relations.
What about the nature of a man with a man or a woman with a woman, regardless of marriage?
That is a sexual sin, like adultery or fornication or any other sexual relation outside the bonds of marriage.
Is it the fact that it's outside the bounds of marriage, or is that it's the same sex?
The fact that it is outside the bonds of marriage is what makes it a transgression.
So, if it were homosexual marriage, would that be okay?
The church does not recognize homosexual marriages. There is no biblical or scriptural warrant for homosexual marriages.
Whether the policy is stated or implied is less important than what is resulting. Mormon homosexuals are marrying and in many cases leading double lives. Besides the personal anguish, there is now a public health threat, AIDS.
I think here in Utah what we're seeing, there is probably a large bisexual population.
Dr. Kristen Reese is virtually the only doctor treating AIDS patients in Utah. She is not a Mormon.
I think the church is probably not always aware of all of the bisexuality, et cetera, that's going on. And certainly they need to be aware about the virus illness. I think that we potentially have an outbreak in the next 5 years of a large number of women coming down with the acquired immune deficiency syndrome. And that's a big concern of spread of the virus to unaware people. I think there's going to be many more cases. We're talking if I had 10 die this year, maybe next year it'll be 20. And that there's going to be more and more people involved, and it's going to touch everybody in Utah. Everybody will know someone that either has AIDS or has a relative with AIDS.
What do you think needs to happen?
Primarily education.
Virginity is a lovely thing. It is the greatest gift a man and woman can give one another. The husband and wife who consummate their marriage on their wedding night will grow in love for each other.
This is a celebration of romantic love. Musical sex education urging purity.
To everything there is a season.
But sometimes real life collides with this Mormon vision.
A time to be born and a time to die.
Emily Pearson's father was a homosexual. He married under pressure from the church. He died from AIDS.
Oh, he was wonderful. Really warm, light, caring person. Very wise, very just full of light. Just fun to be with. He could just fill up a whole room, just make everyone happy. He was just wonderful. He was my best friend.
And he, Gerald Pearson, was tormented by his love of family and religion and his need to be a practicing homosexual.
When I learned that Gerald's homosexuality was still a very predominant need in him, and this was 8 years into our marriage, my entire world came crashing down around me.
Carol Lynn Pearson is a poet who wrote of Gerald's life and death in the book, Goodbye, I Love You.
My naive conception of all of that was pure and simple sin. I suppose I had in my mind these people as monsters, these people as deliberately doing something absolutely revolting, and if they would only make an effort to shape up, they could. And so when that came up against the fact that here was this human being that I knew very well, that I knew all of the good things in him, and yet he was one of those, it of course exploded my whole concept of what a homosexual person was. And Gerald went into our marriage, I know, with the very best of intentions. And the fact that he had done everything he felt that he could do, that hopefully was going to turn him into just a normal, regular, heterosexual man.
After 4 children and years of battling ambivalence, Gerald left the church and his home to live on his own. But he remained close to his family, even after he contracted AIDS.
I think toward the very end, he just let it all go, and he was finally at peace with himself, and he believed in himself and in his final goodness and in his own spiritual being. But not without a great deal of pain and a lot of baggage that went along with that, of the horrendous pain simply that there is in being a homosexual person who has been told by the system that they believe most in or have believed in that they are wrong, that they are sinful. That's a tremendous conflict to deal with.
It is a conflict common to the Mormon homosexual AIDS victim. Brad Scow wrestled with the same demons until his death last month.
I think right up until the time he died, he wanted to be in the church.
Sandra Scow is Brad's mother.
There was something in the very basic organization of the church that was vital. And he has said a number of times, I need a God. And I kept trying to tell him that he could find that within himself, that it was there. But he had a hard time. He had lost faith in himself, and he had lost faith in the whole system.
The Scow family cared for Brad until the end. His death and troubled life shook their belief system, made them reevaluate the church's attitude toward gays.
There are many fine people in the church, and many of our friends who we respect greatly, who...
Wayne Scow, Brad's father.
We think would like to have done everything they could for Brad had they known. But it is simply true that doctrines as they exist sometimes tend to limit the ability of people to help one another in a caring way. And in this case, I think, unfortunately, we have a doctrine that is rooted in homophobia and superstition from the past, and it's just one of those things that's hard to learn to get over. And
the Scows believe change is needed in the way the church treats homosexuals. They believe AIDS may force the issue.
We ask that God will watch over us and all those that we love this day. And this we ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Both families learned that when the lessons of the church conflict with the realities of life, a person stands alone in his decisions. Carol Lynn Pearson brought Gerald back to her home to let him die where he was happiest.
It just seemed like the right thing to do. Gerald was my friend. Long after he was my husband, he was my friend. And I loved him.
After I loved him as a husband, I loved him as my friend, and he was a beautiful person. And so I just, I wanted to do for him whatever I could do so that at the end of my life, so that whatever happens in a next life, I will be able to look at Gerald, I'll be able to look at the Lord, look at my children, look at everybody and say, well, on this one I did all that I could.
AIDS is the ugly underside to this pristine culture, one that is full of contradictions. These gays, many of them fallen Mormons, now celebrate their faith among themselves. They live a double dose of tragedy, the rejection of a church that was once the center of their lives, and the fear that unless something is done, AIDS will consume those they love.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by rich, delicious, mountain-grown Folgers crystals.
We're in Boston at world-famous Maison Robert restaurant. And we're secretly replacing Robert's freshly ground coffee with mountain-grown Folgers crystals. Will it be rich enough?
It's delicious.
It's Folgers crystals.
I'm shocked.
Why?
Because, I tell you, he only drinks fresh brewed. He's been talking about how great the coffee's been tonight. This tastes like fresh ground coffee.
Mountain-grown Folgers crystals. Coffee rich enough to be served in America's finest restaurants.
This tastes just like fresh brewed to me. I can't believe it.
If the only juice you've had started out with Mom and Dad, then you're really missing out on what Citrus Hill's about. Oh, your day gets going and your juices get flowing. Citrus Hill Select is squeezed from the heart. It's the taste so fresh and sweet, you feel it right down to your feet. Citrus Hill Select gets your juices flowing. Citrus Hill Select gets your juices flowing.
Morning is your time. The earth wakes up with you. Always feel that spark of life in everything that you do.
Grape nuts. For you, it's as natural as the morning. No sugar added, no preservatives. Just an honest, nutty crunch. Post Grape Nuts cereal. You know when you have it good.
Yes, you know when you have it good.
Shearson Lehman Brothers, January 1987, where we stand. While the stock market may be near its all-time high, we believe it will go even higher. While interest rates are the lowest in a decade, we believe they will go even lower. Therefore, we believe selective stocks and bonds represent opportunities that cannot be ignored. What do you believe? Talk with us. Shearson Lehman Brothers, minds over money.
Tonight, Jessica involved in espionage?
Guns? Spies?
What is going on?
You are a suspect in a murder investigation.
Murder, she wrote. Then, the greatest American saga ever told. Their past was passionate. Their destiny was war. Their story was love. Their future gone with the wind.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh in the sweeping classic of the Civil War, Gone with the Wind, tonight.
This is CBS. Today's computerized workplace is like a music hall before a concert. Each workstation merely a solo instrument until the conductor brings them into harmony. Introducing DFM, conductors for office orchestration through networking, IBM and Novell Business Systems. DFM, networking for efficiency and harmony. DFM, turning solos into symphonies.
Shop Southridge Mall for value. It's winter clearance time now at the House of Large Sizes. Savings from 33 to 60%. The House of Large Sizes in the Garden Court at Southridge Mall.
Remember, Vision Express means finest quality, 1-hour service, thousands of frames, and good prices. Vision Express, why go anywhere else?
The center, worth shopping, Southridge Mall.
This is KCCI, TV8 in Des Moines.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Kuralt.
Of course, Marcel Marceau is a lot better known for what he doesn't say than for what he does. But every so often he breaks his famous silence to talk about the art of mime. He talked to us in Gambier, Ohio, one of the places he visited recently, to pass on to American students some of the secrets of silence.
Hello, I am Marcel Marceau, and I have created the style pantomimes. That means I've introduced the art of mime to the public, the art of silence, the art which speaks to the soul like music, making comedy and tragedy, involving you, your life, and putting it through the invisible visible, creating characters, space, making a whole show on stage with our life, our dreams, our expectations. Right foot. Go ahead. One, arrière, poitrine and hand, slowly. Pick up the flower. Tack, not too quick. Breathe the flower. It's wonderful to teach because you bring this legacy to the young people and you show them how they can start and where they can go. À la tête, cou, poitrine, avec le truc. Encore plus. Tourne maintenant, tourne. Tout doucement. Reste ouvert avec tes jambes, hein. Faut penser. When I was a child, of course, I loved Chaplin films, Keaton, Stanley and Hardy. They were the character with which I could identify as a child, and they made me laugh and cry, like millions of people through the whole world. I've created also a character, Mr. Bip, who is my trademark. Bip has a white face, red lips, a top hat, and a flower, which shows the fragility of life. Bip is a sort of Don Quixote who struggles through life and in the battlefield of tragedy and comedy. This is good. Okay. Da, 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 da. Ha! Voila. Da, 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 da. The students have to be fit. And many are. They have studied dance, they have studied movement already, but now they have to enter in the discipline of mime. Voila. And then, okay. Yes, and then, yes. Here, very pure. And you hold just your attitude, and you don't try to make them laugh. Don't try to make them laugh. Just be, oh, what is the idea you have? Tell me your idea first. They have to learn how to create space, to sculpt space, to make the invisible visible, to render the emotion. The ball is still here. You missed it. Okay, then you have to play it fine, because I didn't see the music. Shut up. When I mime a character, even in 4 seconds, they have to have the feeling that they know this character for years. We have really to create this inside. It reminds me a small anecdote. There was a Japanese Zen master, a painter, and his pupil said to him, "Oh, master, show me this wonderful bird you are painting. How do you do it?" And he did, and the bird was there. And the student said, "So quickly?" He said, "Yes, but it took me 30 years to draw this bird."
Bye. Great party, honey.
Oh, I hope there's room for all these leftovers.
Bet they finished my world-famous jalapeno dip.
Anything's possible.
Whirlpool refrigerators are so easy to use because they have adjustable shelves. Even shelves on Whirlpool doors adjust to fit almost anything.
Look, there's even room for this full bowl of your world-famous jalapeno dip.
Are you sure you put it on the table?
We're making your world a little easier. Whirlpool.
There came a moment when all the elements came together, unleashing a superbly equipped new breed of compact car, the Dodge Shadow, with 2 or 4 door availability, affordable price, a $550 protection plan. The new Dodge Shadow is going to cast a giant shadow across America. Dodge setting new standards of performance.
The Marines asked for a fighter to base right at the front, so McDonnell Douglas built the AV-8B. Hospitals asked for a way out of the paper blizzard, so we build the information systems now used in 1 out of 5 U.S. hospitals. Airlines want to save fuel, so we're testing aircraft with new kinds of jet engines to cut fuel consumption over 40%. We're creating breakthroughs in aviation, space, and information systems. We're McDonnell Douglas.
If you're interested in earning more than a paycheck, the Century 21 system announces a week of opportunity. Mark your calendar now for career sessions. Find out why we're #1, the best-known professionals in the business. Find out about our career track training, one of the most comprehensive programs in real estate. Call the Century 21 office nearest you and make a date with your future.
Put #1 to work for you. Century 21.
Don't miss the Century 21 Career Opportunity Week, January 12th through the 18th.
Ron Powers is here to talk about some puppets that are causing a ruckus on TV. Ron?
Charles? Well, why are so many people worked up over the creatures known as spitting image? Well, if you haven't seen them, try to imagine an outlaw Muppet. Try to imagine what would happen if you crossed a Halloween mask with the compassion of Joan Rivers. Try to imagine how you'd feel on a dark and stormy night, punching your way along the outer cable buttons, if you stumbled on a music video channel that was playing this.
I won't be coming home tonight. My generation will put it right.
You have just met Spitting Image. Somehow, Johnny Carson's political jokes will never again seem quite the same. Spitting Image has been the rage of British television the past couple of years. Some would say it has been the outrage. The cast is a gallery of life-size, hand-operated puppets, molded to savagely caricature a range of world political figures and celebrities. Bet you can't guess who this couple is. The puppets are guest stars on this music video, Land of Confusion, by the group Genesis. It gives you a fair idea of what the British mass audience devours gleefully every Sunday night.
That's one heck of a nurse.
American audiences aren't quite so used to this level of satire. The first reaction to Land of Confusion tends to be somewhere between livid and homicidal, judging from the mail I've opened. My own feeling was in that direction. I thought the video had about the same depth of political insight that you could achieve with a can of spray paint. I did love the costumes. The real question, though, is what would happen if a mainstream American network began telecasting Spitting Image?
He's Ronnie, she's Nancy. Together they're Ronnie and Nancy. He's the most...
Well, the fact is, it's happening. On Wednesday night, NBC will carry the third Spitting Image special it has broadcast. The first two ran without much notice at the end of the summer rerun season.
The Ronnie and Nancy show.
And I just know this anniversary dinner is going to be the bestest, loveliest, secretest surprise.
The plot line here is that Nancy Reagan calls her celebrity friends together to stage a surprise party for the president to celebrate their 87th wedding anniversary. I'm just quoting from the press release, folks.
Looks like I need a shave.
But never fear. Jokes about age are about as politically daring as it gets on this special. The British creators know the American mass audience. They've sent over a spitting image that's all image, no spit.
If that don't show them, my name's not George Shrub. Bush! George Bush!
Take away the puppets and use live actors, and what you have here is a standard situation comedy. I Love Lucy, with guest stars.
Yum. Yum.
My guess is that American audiences will judge this toned-down version of Spitting Image for the faces, not the politics. I thought the Johnny Carson puppet looked more like Richard Widmark, for instance. And perhaps that's the real significance of Spitting Image. It's part of a new trend in video to tinker around with the human face, with identity itself. The humanoid Max Headroom, all those computer-altered faces on music videos, Alf, even those characters on kiddie cartoons that transform from one shape to another. Is television getting too high-tech for human beings? That's a topic for another Sunday.
Hi, this is Dennis James. You know, Physicians Mutual has just taken a major step toward eliminating the #1 concern of people aged 65 or over. And that concern is the rising amount of health care costs that neither Medicare nor traditional Medicare supplement policies pay. But that's all about to change now, because now there's Total Care from Physicians Mutual, the Medicare supplement policy that pays every penny of every bill not fully paid by Medicare. That's right. As long as Medicare pays part, Total Care will pay the rest right down to the last cent. Now, I want you to write down this important toll-free number and then call it to get this free information kit. Total Care Policy. But first, let me tell you a little more about it. You see, unlike other policies that pay only up to Medicare's allowable charge, Total Care pays you the total difference between what Medicare pays and your actual bill. Now, you may hear of other plans that sound similar, but I'm telling you right now, with Total Care, there's a big difference. In fact, only Total Care pays every penny of your Medicare copayments, every penny of your hospital bills for 1 year after Medicare benefits end, and every penny of your medical expenses not fully paid by Medicare. Here's another important difference. There are no deductibles, none. There's no waiting period, none. Your Total Care benefits will start immediately. You're fully covered the minute your policy is issued. Look, to learn more about this really remarkable plan, call this toll-free number and receive all the facts by mail. The information is free, so is the call. There's no obligation on your part whatsoever. Don't spend another minute worrying about health care costs. Call this number now. You'll be glad that you did.
We're here when you need us, Physicians Mutual.
A lot of good poets and novelists have found inspiration in the city of Chicago. Stormy, husky, brawling, city of big shoulders. David Culhane is about to remind us of what we know already, that Chicago, that toddling town, is also the center of the literary universe of Studs Terkel. Here is the world according to Studs.
It is still the arena of those who dream of the city of man and those who envision a city of things. The battle appears to be forever joined. The armies, ignorant and enlightened, clash by day as well as night. Chicago is America's dream, writ large and flamboyantly.
Studs Terkel is reading from his new book called Chicago.
Janus, the two-faced god, has both blessed and cursed the city-state, Chicago.
The city has no laureate. If it did have one, Terkel could lay claim to the title.
Soars atop Sears.
And this is his prose poem to his city.
Our city is streetwise and alley hip of the casually familiar. Thus, the Standard Oil Building and the John Hancock are with tavern gaminess referred to as Big Stan and Big John. Sears is simply that, never mind Roebuck. Ours is a one-syllable town. Its character has been molded by the muscle rather than the word.
Religion as well as Greek.
Yes, it is.
So we're on our way. Nick, how do we begin? Talking about Oresteia in the year 1986.
Studs Terkel has traveled the world doing interviews for his radio program.
How are you this morning?
He has written about the Great Depression and about working people in America.
All right.
His book on World War II won the Pulitzer Prize.
We got the right away.
But always in his writings, in his meditations, he returns to his city. Chicago is his muse.
What, you like the socks?
I love
them. He likes my socks.
I noticed in your book that when you go someplace in the world and you say Chicago, what's the reaction you get?
Boom, boom. The reaction everywhere. It could be in any country that I may have visited or that you have. And you say, Chicago, boom. Al Capone, they say. And then you realize that Warner Brothers and Jimmy Cagney, Edward G. Robinson did quite a sales job on Chicago. Secretly, there's a pride on the part of respectable Chicagoans. Hey, you know, the chest swells, perversely, but swells nonetheless. Oh, Al Capone. Oh, yes, true.
In other words, in their secret heart, they
in their secret
want that
heart,
rough, tough
they love
image.
the idea of notoriety. Now, I think one thing should be understood. Of course, Chicago has a history of corruption, and to a great extent is, as are all large American cities. But Chicago's corruption is different. It's more theatrical.
In other words, even in that area, we're going to be bigger than life. And
You hit it. There, you just hit it. Larger than life. Chicago has a larger than life quality. That's why Pablo gave us this. Larger than life, certainly.
Terkel tells us in his book how people wondered at first about the Picasso sculpture in the Loop. Is it a bird, a woman, victory?
And then one guy his breath was 100 proof. And he's saying, I don't know, it's something after a hard day's night. And a little old lady with a Viennese accent, Middle European accent, I don't know, I've been to the Louvre. Louvre had never anything like this. Only in Chicago this could happen. And some old woman says to me, I said, what do you think of that? She says, I ain't talking. It's got something connected with the city. The humor was there, the laughter was there. At the same time, a bit of history was being made. Aesthetic history.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was, because Chicago, Picasso, wham!
Yeah.
What a marriage.
Perfect. Terkel included a photograph of the Picasso work in his book, along with many of his favorite pictures of the city and its people.
So it's a new city demographically and ethnically and racially. It's not the city of Eastern Europeans and the early Germans and Irish. It's that too, of course. And of course, the tremendous upsurge in the Hispanic population too. I see the black population of Chicago aware for the first time in its life. They were owned by the machine for years and years and years, and the blacks were in the pocket. Now no longer in the pocket. Now there is this awareness of voting power with a black mayor.
Terkel's book is not only a hymn to his city, its architecture, its bridges, it is also a song about himself, about his memories of growing up in Chicago.
And here we go into round one.
June night, 1938 is one that is so vivid here. It was the night Joe Louis knocked out Max Schmeling in the first round with that bang right in the, and he fell down screaming. Clem McCarthy's voice describing it. He's out.
There's a towel torn in from his corner. It's all over. Schmeling, a horribly beaten man.
My friend and I, his name was Dude, another white kid. I'm 26, he's about 27. We said, we got to go to the South Side, to the black community. What's happening out there?
Just the sense that it was going to be
What's happening?
exciting.
Something great. We jump out. I forgot how we got here. It was a streetcar. And we jump off around this corner, and it was the liberation of Paris, Carnival, New Year's Eve, all rolled into one.
I mean, there was no sense of not being welcome as a white man in that celebration.
On the contrary. Welcome. We were embraced by everybody. Yeah. Old men, guys shook our hands, slapped us on the back, slapped each other on the back. They grabbed us, I forget who it was, an older guy, and took us into a restaurant, a ribs place, ribs. There was whiskey. We wanted to pay. We had a couple of bucks on us, Dude and I. Wouldn't take our money.
So when you look at this intersection now, thinking back to the glory of that time, what do you think?
What's happened? What's happened to the life of people? What's happened to the dream? You know, Martin Luther King's I have a dream. Well, he does have a dream, but it's still there. But when will it be a reality? I don't know how it's going to work out. No one does at the moment, but it's certainly in a state of transition. Is that, or maybe that great getting up morning, as the spiritual says. Maybe. Now you know why we're called the Windy City. Would I dream of living elsewhere? Let's put it that way. Of course not. Never in a million years.
You couldn't go away.
Oh, never, never. Under no circumstances. Oh, town to visit. That town out east of the Hudson's a good town to visit. Living? Hell no. Chicago? Oh, yeah.
In the book, we see Chicago as Terkel sees it, from boyhood to manhood.
As for the boy who stepped off the day coach at the LaSalle Street Depot on that August day, 1920, he has come to know, ever so slightly, the nature of the Roman god who, fable tells us, guards the gates of heaven. He knows, too, that the spirit of this god hovers over Chicago. He further knows that Janus, two-headed, has, of course, two forked tongues. So the boy in the ultimate knows that he'll not find Eden here. Here in Chicago, this cockeyed wonder of a town, he is, and all of us are, twice blessed and twice deceived. And he'll settle for that. Se vuelva l'ora, signor Cantino. Papa, para, papa. Papa, papa, papa. Dee, 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 dee.
I'm Leslie Stahl. The president wants to cut student aid. Critics say the country can't afford to. Budget Director Miller on Face the Nation today.
Monday on Cagney and Lacey.
What have you got? It's an old case, nothing. I'll find you, lady, and I'll hurt you in ways you never dreamed of. How much time did this guy get? He's out.
This is CBS.
Shop Southridge Mall for value.
Remember, Vision Express means finest quality, 1-hour service, thousands of frames, and good prices. Vision Express, why go anywhere else?
Drugtown in Southridge Mall is committed to you, your family, and all your prescription needs. Service, price, selection, and personalized care from our friendly staff. Drugtown in Southridge Mall.
The center, worth shopping, Southridge Mall.
Aloha, I'm Ed Hogan, owner of Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays with just the ticket for your winter blues, Hawaii. This is Pleasant's low price for a full week in Waikiki. It includes airfare and hotel, and all the paradise you can handle. Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. See your travel agent. We make paradise affordable.
You're on TV8, KCCI TV, Des Moines.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by General Foods Corporation. Satisfying your family is what we are all about.
Mention decaffeinated coffee to a lot of coffee drinkers, and this can happen. To them, decaffeinated just doesn't have enough flavor, enough aroma. But now there's new Brim. It's aroma blended to give you a rich aroma, a full-bodied flavor. So for some people, it's new Brim or nothing. Brim?
Brim?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Brim?
What do you think?
Fill it to the rim with new Brim.
I can't believe you talked me into this.
Admit it. It's just too good to resist.
You're right. So, what's it called?
Fruit and...
Forget the fiber and fruit and fiber. You're gonna love it just for the taste.
Only Fruit and Fiber has all these lush combinations, overflowing with sweet fruit, fresh, crunchy nuts, and surrounded with the highest fiber flakes.
This is the greatest.
You're gonna love it just for the taste.
Post Fruit and Fiber cereal. Tastes so good you forget the fiber.
This is Captain again. We now expect to arrive at Kennedy Airport around 6:40 a.m.
I see you've got homework, too.
It never ends. You'd think when you get to this point, things would get easier.
Yeah, I know. It looks like that was quite a project.
Yeah, it was. Have a look. No trade secrets here.
Thanks. Impressive. I wish we could do work like this, but we have to crank it out every week.
We do ours every week.
Well, we can't afford to farm ours out. We have to do them on a computer.
We did this on our computer.
You did that on a computer?
Of course. If we farmed them out, I couldn't afford to ride up here.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Kuralt.
This calmest of human beings, Eugenia Zukerman, is here to say that there is stress, physical and mental stress in the arts, every bit as much as there is in, say, the football field. Is that so?
I think it's true. It's probably just a different set of muscles, but really the same problem, the same striving and constant struggling toward a goal and toward a kind of a standard. A pianist can badly strain the muscles of a hand, a cellist can hurt their shoulders, the flutist can have back trouble, believe me. But lucky for people in the performing arts, there's a whole new field of medicine which deals with the specific problems in those people in the performing arts. And across our country, there are many clinics that deal with a wide variety of therapeutic methods with just these problems that musicians and dancers and even actors have.
Yeah, fascinating. And your subject for this morning had such an affliction.
Leon Fleisher has had difficulty with his right hand for some 20 years, and I'd just like to tell you what I think about him as a pianist. He's a legendary pianist, really, and I think what is special about him is he has achieved a kind of ideal, a wonderful balance between intellect and emotion. He plays brilliantly. He's got a fabulous technique, but I think what really sets him apart is the way that he imbues in each note a kind of intensity and a kind of energy, and this is clearly and very directly communicated to his audience. He is really the keeper of a piano-playing legacy that goes back into the 19th century, because he studied with Arthur Schnabel, the Austrian pianist, and Schnabel, among many things that he believed that the musician should really have a broad education so that he'll have something to say in the music. And Leon Fleisher has so much to say, and he says it so poetically and so magically. Piano masterclass at the Peabody Conservatory of Music in Baltimore, Maryland. The teacher is Leon Fleisher, who is America's most sought-after piano instructor.
It's the very last note, the F, D, E, D. Again, that's better. Lift and off. That's better.
I love to teach. I think I come by it very legitimately. I studied with a great artist who was a great teacher, Schnabel, and that somehow that enthusiasm was passed on to me. So yes, that's a great satisfaction for me.
Again. It's not so fast. That's it. In other words,
indeed, Leon Fleisher is now a great teacher. But at one time in his life, he was considered a boy genius, a wunderkind at the piano. When he was 9, he studied with the famed Austrian pianist, Arthur Schnabel.
He had the most extraordinary ability to inspire one. We would come out of those lessons in such a state of intoxication. I remember really not being able to walk straight as I went out that door. I would kind of reel from side to side. Everything that he did was with passion. There was the most incredible kind of commitment.
That commitment and his talent allowed Leon Fleisher to achieve success quickly. At the age of 16, he made his debut with the New York Philharmonic. Critics described him as the finest American pianist of his time. For 20 years, he enjoyed enormous success. Then at the height of his fame, Fleischer's right hand failed him. His fourth and fifth fingers curled involuntarily into his palm.
How can one describe the ultimate nightmare? Everybody has their ultimate nightmare. Just go to that, and that's what I went through. The 3 S's, stress, strain, and stupidity. Yeah. I didn't know better. I worked very hard to a point that was just destructive. There was a time when, in my life, when somehow it was popular to work through pain. And that might be all well and good for the big muscles, for football players and people like that. But for the small intrinsic muscles in the hand, which are basically rather delicate, I just strained them unmercifully.
Over the next 20 years, Fleischer tried every medical remedy available. Steroid injections, hypnosis, acupuncture, biofeedback. The result of all his effort was only minor improvement in the functioning of his right hand. Five years ago, Fleischer attempted a two-handed return to the stage in a performance of Franck's Symphonic Variations.
I was originally scheduled to do the G major Beethoven. It's about 37 minutes. And I had to switch to the Franck Symphonic Variations, which was only about 15 minutes. So that stamina had a lot to do with it, but not the only thing. Yeah, that was at one and the same time a very happy experience, and yet a very hard to describe, the sense that that was not the answer for me.
Dramatic concert in 1982, Leon Fleischer has not performed with both hands, but his musical life is richer than ever. He performs with his left hand. He teaches, gives master classes, and has become a prominent conductor.
You want to make a guitar? I don't think I do. Maybe the last 2/16 to the downbeat, but nothing before that. Nothing before that. A little happy. That's it. Thank
you. Conducting is through gesture, through intensity of intention, concentration, what you will, is convincing 100 professional, sometimes sympathetic, sometimes skeptical musicians to go along with your vision of what the music is. When they do, when everybody zeroes in on that same vision and is willing to go for it, it can be one of the most extraordinary kinds of experiences.
Fleisher has reshaped his musical identity. He continues to play and conduct. And he was also recently named artistic director of the Tanglewood Music Center. He surrounds himself with students.
I have this incredible opportunity of working with young people, and the possibility of being able to pass on good information to the next generation is, I think, first of all, terribly important, and for me, enormously satisfying.
If one work of music can be identified with one musician, it is Ravel's Concerto for the Left Hand. Originally composed for a friend of Ravel's who lost his right hand during World War I, the concerto now belongs to Leon Fleisher.
You can't see the wind, you can't touch the wind, but its power is undeniable. It can blow down buildings. Music has that power. One resonates to it.
Say, these must be Jack's new Canon personal copiers. Great color.
Yeah, and they copy in 5. You want to see?
Go ahead. Make my day.
Everything you need to copy with is in this replaceable cartridge.
I'll do that.
Good thing Canon has PCs for every personality, even pushy agents.
Lighten up, Jack.
These new Canon personal copiers are light. Put one in my car.
What a guy.
Personal copiers for every personality. For information, call toll-free 1-800-OK-Canon.
Whirlpool and I spent years becoming laundry experts, but now they make it easy for everybody. With so many choices of cycles and temperatures for most any fabric, even Grandpa might do a good job on the laundry. Now.
Figured you'd bring a gun.
Brought something better. FTD pick-me-up bouquet.
Pretty.
For you.
For me? Shucks. Nobody's given them flowers before. I like them.
Only from your FTD florist.
Jack Rafferty proves you just can't tell.
The fellas that I work with are pretty perceptive. They don't miss too much. No one had picked up the fact that the gray was gone from my hair. It was that simple. No one realized I was using the Grecian Formula 16. It was so gradual. The Grecian has a natural look about it. It's not a dye, it's a clear liquid. The questions most asked by the fellas at work were, what are you doing? You working out? Are you losing weight? And unless I told them I was using the Grecian Formula 16, they never would have guessed.
Grecian Formula 16. You just can't tell who's using it. Cadillac Seville for 1987. An unmistakable statement of success. Its elegant design surrounds some of the most remarkable engineering in Cadillac history. Engineering designed to enhance your comfort,
your control and your confidence with impeccable manners on the road. And a new longer warranty, all the while reminding you that Seville represents the ultimate in American luxury sedans. Seville, the elegant spirit of Cadillac.
Oh, how I look forward to the next few minutes in which Phil Jones is going to stand right there on Capitol Hill and tell us what's going to happen in the 100th Congress. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Charles.
You want to just start?
Well, I tell you, this is going to be the best three-ring circus in the country over the next few months. In one ring, you're going to have the nation's economy, or the Reagan economy, as some people want to describe it. And under that, you're going to have the whole debate over the budget, the deficit, what to do about that, and trade policy. In another ring going on at the same time, you're going to have all the foreign policy debate and the question of just what to do about arms control and what the policy should be towards Iran and in other places around the world. And then in the third ring, you'll have the special investigations going on by the two select committees on Iran. And as well as those, when they're not meeting, you're going to have other things going on here. They're just going to be plain old, raw, rank, wonderful partisan politics.
Well, that's very well said. Now, of course, the Democrats control both wings of that building behind you now. That's going to make a big difference, I imagine.
They're the ringmasters. The first time in 6 years now, they're going to have control back of the U.S. Senate. They're still going to have control of the House, but you'll have a new speaker, and I think you're probably going to find a much closer relationship between the two top Democrats now in the Senate and the House. I think Jim Wright, who is the new Speaker of the House, will work very closely with the Majority Leader in the Senate, Robert Byrd. But they're going to be running things around here, and they're going to decide the agenda a great deal. President Reagan said yesterday in his Saturday speech, get ready up here, folks. He's going to be suited up again down there and back on the playing field. But Mr. Reagan's going to find that the playing field is much, much different. He has never had the experience of sitting down there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and trying to work with a Congress that is controlled, both bodies controlled by the other body, or by the other party, rather.
Yeah. You know, Phil, there's a fairly well-established theory of American history that the country goes off chasing rainbows, serving its ideals for a certain period of time, and then there's a rest, or maybe even a retrenchment, and then the country goes off accomplishing idealistic things again. That's a long way of asking, do you think President Reagan is so crippled that that the Democrats really have a chance to do some of the things they would like to do in the way of health care and education and that Democratic agenda we know so well?
Well, there's no question that the president is somewhat of a lame duck now, crippled. But I wouldn't say that he's out of the park. I mean, for example, the budget that he has sent up here, everybody declared it dead on arrival. But the fact is that there are some things in there that he will probably find bipartisan support up here. I think that there is a general attitude that there ought to be some users' fees, as they call it. Other people are calling them just plain taxes, but things where people in this nation who actually use the service being provided by the government pay, while those who don't have the opportunity don't have to pay.
For example,
we'd support for those things.
For example, we'd pay to get into national parks, and yachtsmen would pay for the Coast Guard tows and things like that.
Absolutely, but and I think also that there is going to be a push here for more health care, but you also have to give the administration some credit in this area, because I think that their own people are starting to look at this and have proposals that they want to make. But the Democrats are, as one Republican said yesterday, the Democrats are feeling their oats up here. The election was good to them. They feel they have a mandate, and they're going to move forward.
If they do move forward, it's not in the way the Democrats usually have in mind. It's not going to be within the constrictions of this presidential budget, right? I mean, he's sending them the same sort of budget he sent before, very lighter than ever on domestic spending, and very heavy, as usual, on the Pentagon side.
Well, certainly that's true. And as you look at the budget, as you've suggested, he's sending up a lot of proposed cuts one more time that couldn't even make it through here when he had the Republicans in control of the Senate. They're not going to get to first base here. They're going to be totally ignored. And there are going to be efforts to do more things, to more people-oriented programs to get them funded. And the president is going to have to bring out the old veto club. And I'm not sure how he will operate having to do that. He's never done it before.
As we've seen these battles between President and Congress year after year, Phil, the deficit, this horrendous deficit, has just kept on growing, getting worse. With the Democrats running things, they're not usually noted for economies. Is it just going to go on and get so bad that our grandchildren will never be able to pay for it?
Well, who knows? I think that they all look at the deficits and say that something is going to have to be done. They look at the president's proposal to deal with these deficits and say it is not going to get us to where we need to get. You're going to have this whole question of whether or not there should be an increase in taxes. The president has said that over his dead body and continues to say that no way will he go along with any tax increase. And the Democrats up here say, well, if he is not going to be with us, if he is not going to support it, we're sure not going to go out there and do it because people don't get reelected who've been involved in raising taxes. But I think also it should be pointed out that even though some Democrats, some of the more liberal Democrats are really talking about these big spending programs that they plan, I don't think you're going to see the old-time Democrats operating up here. You've got a much more conservative bunch, the Sam Nunns and these people who believe that the Democratic Party has to represent fiscal responsibility.
Yeah. Well, we'll be watching when the gavels come down tomorrow and the excitement begins. Thanks for joining us, Phil.
Thank you, Charles.
An investment firm is only as impressive as it is responsive.
It's a go.
So when interest rates fell, we looked for new ways for our clients to make money and developed unique opportunities like the Prudential Real Estate Investment Trust, a first of its kind in a way to take advantage of changing markets. While others may imitate it, we're busy surpassing it. If anyone can show you bold new thinking in the business of making money,
let's close it.
It's Prudential Beach, rock solid, market-wise.
Satellites need maintenance and refueling, so McDonnell Douglas is helping NASA plan a space station that will be an ideal satellite service center. Communities asked for peace and quiet, so we developed a tail rotor that cuts our helicopter's noise in half. Aerospace plane designers need a low-cost way to test ideas. Our simulators evaluate flight systems before they're built. We are creating breakthroughs in aviation, space, and information systems. We're McDonnell Douglas.
The day's looking new and bright, and you're gonna start it right. All you're starting to prove, the aroma's calling you. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your car.
Mornings are brighter with mountain-grown Folgers because mountain-grown coffee has more enticing aroma than any other kind.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your car.
This is dedicated to the ones we love.
You know what your problem is, Eric?
Alice?
You're 43 years old, and you still eat cold pizza and donuts for breakfast.
So that's it.
All that sugar, all those preservatives.
Hold it. Should I try Nutri-Grain?
Delicious Nutri-Grain. Only the whole grain with no preservatives and no sugar added.
Goodbye.
Oh, wait. Does this mean you love me?
Yes.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain cereal.
Dedicated to the ones we love.
A few days ago, the sun and the moon and the earth lined up in such a way that the moon's gravitational pull was compounded by the sun's, causing on Earth higher than usual tides, and tides that were lower than usual, too. We'll leave you this morning at Half Moon Bay in California, where extraordinarily low tides uncovered unusual beauty on the ocean floor. I'm Charles Kuralt. I hope you'll join us here again next Sunday morning.
The president wants to cut student aid. Critics say the country can't afford to. Budget Director Miller on Face the Nation today.
Dethroned the mighty Bears. Now they must travel to the land of the Giants, where there waits a team who trample the 49ers and danced in the end zone. The NFC Championship, today on CBS Sports.
Americans, we like straight talk. We want hard facts. We demand the truth. We know who we are. And when it comes to news, we know who we trust. Dan Rather, weeknights on the CBS Evening News. We keep America on top of the world.
This is CBS.
Now, National Geographic takes you on assignment with TV adventures like you've never seen before. Meet intriguing people in faraway places, share the spirit of adventure, and experience the boundless wonders of nature. Join National Geographic in a bold quest for life's next great adventure. National Geographic on assignment.
This Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on TV
8. Loving is a special part of life. At any age, our lives are better for the togetherness of sharing with family and friends. Isn't loving what living is all about?